Hello, and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast, an opposition preview show with Johnny, Tom, and our guest for the day, Louis Ben from the Baggies Podcast, who is here to give us a West Brom perspective on the game on Saturday night at the Riverside Stadium. Louis, welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast. But before we start, I want to know how you both feel about the game in 3 words. Louis, since you're our guest, do you want to go first?
Probably go for very, very nervous, I think. Yeah, that's probably the best way I can describe it for you.
Very, very nervous. And Tom, what are you going to go for?
Oh, man was very similar answer. Man's very, very excited, but not because I think we're just going to go out there and get the win or anything. Just because it seems like it's been ages since we've had football. Obviously, we were at the Riverside last week for Marseille. That doesn't really count. It's pre-season, but yeah, with no World Cup this year, it's really been strange. So glad to have it back.
Yeah, I think it'd be a weird time. I think obviously both teams hoping to be up there towards the end of the season. Maybe I think pretty much how's pre-season gone for you guys? Is it something that has it gone quite well? I know you've been making quite a few signings.
Yeah, the signings have been fantastic. 3 players that essentially become almost our best players in the lineup, and they go straight into the first 11, which I think is always what you want to see. And of course, the players that they now displace become pretty good squad players and pretty good rotation players. So it's always good to see. Swift and Wallace probably solved the glaring issue of creativity that we had last season under Ishmael and a bit of Bruce as well, and then Yukushlu as well was fantastic for us when we had him on loan in the Premier League. So hopefully he still got it, and hopefully he can do it at Championship level. So as for transfer business, really good. I think for the matches, it's always take them with a pinch of salt. But we beat. I know you guys beat Marseille last week as well. Are they a Champions League team at the moment?
Yeah, which finished second in League, but I feel like
it
didn't look like a team that's been in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, we beat Hertha Berlin at the Hawthorns last weekend as well, and I think we were all a bit oh wow, but then you sort of come back to reality a little bit and realise that's probably not the sort of side that they'd be playing in the Bundesliga week in, week out. But yeah, we've had we had a rough start, I think, against Stevenage. We lost 2-0, and I think that sort of brought the whole fan base up in arms and thinking, oh my god, what's going to happen this season? But you've always got to take it with a pinch of salt, and the fitness has visibly got better, and the performances have definitely got better as well. And I think it's all about now working on that lineup and that final team for Saturday as well.
Based on what you saw last year under Steve Bruce, what do you think of the signings so far? Do you think they're going to fit into that system quite well?
I think they fit into what he's trying to do. I think it's a little bit different to sort of the way he played at Newcastle. He's trying to essentially get us to play some nicer football, which doesn't involve us hoofing the ball at the pitch. And I think we're trying to get the ball wide quite a lot, and that helps with somebody like Wallace on the wings. He can cross the ball so well. He's got such little backlift when he takes the ball on, and you wouldn't know he was about to do a cross before he sort of whips the ball in. It's so subtle the way he does it, and I think that's perfect for what he's trying to do. And I think Bruce is kind of trying to get us to work the ball wide and get the ball into the box for Daryl Dike, who hopefully is going to be a bit of an aerial threat in the box this season for opposition defenders. So yeah, I think they fit in with what he's trying to do. Whether they'll fit in with what actually comes out is another matter. But yeah, I think definitely with the sort of wing play stuff, and then John Swift in there who can kind of link things up really well between the strikers and the wingers. I think that's going to help a lot. So yeah, I think the signings fit in pretty well with the style of play that Bruce is trying to implement. But as I said, I'm not sure exactly what's going to come out of the oven at the end of this, really.
So what's your thoughts on Steve Bruce then? Because a lot of media was on Bruce when he's at Newcastle, and everyone wanted him out, and he was Mike Ashley's puppet. And then he came to West Brom, and he said that this was more of like a personal ambition for him to kind of prove all the doubters wrong again. And when he has came in instead of Ismail as well, who did leave, it felt like your season just faded away. It was quite similar to us. I think, to give a Middlesbrough comparison, I remember when we had Gareth Southgate as manager in the Championship, he got sacked. Gordon Strachan came in, who was vastly experienced, and our season petered out, felt relatively the same a few seasons ago. But I want to know what your thoughts are on Steve Bruce, because do you think he's going to be the right man to take you into the promotion places this season?
Yeah, I think the hope that a lot of us are clinging on to is that he's done it before, and I think that he's got promoted 4 times before, twice with Hull, twice with Birmingham, and you kind of hope that he's got the experience and got the he's been there and done it really quite a few times. So you're hoping that he can kind of lean on that. There's a part of me that's a little bit worried, and I think this is quite good that I'm on a Middlesbrough podcast, because it was actually Middlesbrough where I sort of started to worry a little bit last season, where it was 2-1 to yourselves at the Riverside last season, and I think it kind of started to worry me from a tactical point of view. I think where, we went 1-0 up in that game, and I don't think we deserved to go 1-0 up. But the idea then is that Bruce is a pretty good defensive manager, from what he's done in the past. And you thought he can see this out, he can do this. But then you guys started to get you started overloading in the wide areas as a Wilder team does, and Bruce didn't know what to do, and he was playing Dara O'Shea, who's a centre back, at right back, and we got flooded down that side of the pitch. And I think that's what really started to worry me about him. And there was a couple of times, I think it was against Swansea as well, that we lost 2-0 at home, where I was starting to think we're getting, really sort of out tactics, if you like, by a lot of managers. And I think that's what started to worry me. But I think I have to take the sort of demise last season with a bit of a pinch of salt, because I think we were already heading that way under Ismail. And I think Bruce just sort of came in. He tried to play a 4 at the back, which I don't think we were very suited to with the players that we had last season. And yeah, we essentially just fell off and really fell off badly. And I think we were as low as 14th at one point last season, which, for where we've been and from being in the Premier League the season before, that's a really big fall off. And I don't think Bruce can be entirely to blame for that, but there are some worrying signs maybe moving into this season that, although he's brought in some really good players and the business has been exceptional so far in the summer, that perhaps that this may be a little bit of a stretch for him to do this. But I think the fire's still there for him. As you said, it's a very personal move and a very personal sort of ambition of his to get Albion back into the Premier League and to try and prove those doubters wrong. So I know that there's definitely the passion still in him. It's just whether he's still got that sort of quality and ability to coach players into getting the results that can ultimately achieve that promotion.
With all that said, obviously there's not much to really base it on, but where do you think you're going to end up this season? Where's your prediction for that? You can do one for head and heart if you want.
Yeah, my heart that we could be pushing for a top 2 place with the play, of course, bringing that down to sort of reality. I think we'll finish inside the playoffs. I think that seems a little bit low, considering some of the business that we've done in this window. But as I said, I've still got my little reservations about Bruce, and of course they're the sort of, I wouldn't say thinness of our squad, but the fact that we had a bit of an issues with the players, a bit of sort of attitude and effort issues, and those same players are still the ones that are going to be coming off the bench every game. So I'm still a little bit reserved. So I think I said 4th in my pre-season prediction. So I'd go for something like that. I wouldn't say that we're anywhere near running away with it, but I would still say that Bruce has still got enough quality to keep us floating in and around that top 6.
Moving ahead to Saturday then, what's your predictions for that game? And who should Boro be looking out for as kind of a danger man? Obviously, you mentioned Jed Wallace. Do you think he's going to be the main point of attack?
Yeah, I think him. I think Swift. I think Daryl DK is likely to start up front as well, and I think Grady Dean is another really difficult player to deal with when he's on his game. He's looked really good in pre-season. He's clearly been a bit. Last season he was really poor, and I think he's kind of been affected by that. And he's gone away over the summer, and he's come back with almost a completely new physical frame, which is really good to see, because he's gone over. He's been in the gym over the summer, and he looks a new player. And yeah, he clearly wants to carry on beating defenders like he did under Slaven Bilic a couple of seasons ago, and he wants to get back to that form. And I think that's what it's all about, really. I know that yourselves you want to sort of attack down the flanks, and I think Grady Diangana can kind of help with almost pushing that back by running at them and kind of trying to take players on. So I think he could be a danger man, but I think that front 4 there that I've just mentioned, I think is a different matter. There's talk of maybe Matt Phillips coming in on the left wing to kind of combat Isaiah Jones, who's going to be bombing off down that right-hand side. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether he'll play all 4 of them together, but that front 4, and I think Diangana, this could be the season for him if Bruce can get it right with him.
Yeah, it's going to be all out attack, isn't it? From Bruce on on Saturday night. I can see with a 4-2-4, obviously putting our wing backs back, and I think that's the real key to probably beating Middlesbrough this season is that wing back system. You know, if we're able to pin back the Ryan Giles and Isaiah Jones of the world, we're going to probably struggle for a lot of our creativity. So I'll be intrigued to see if Bruce can get it right this time around, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it could be a good game. But final prediction, Tom, what are you going to go for? You're still thinking a Middlesbrough win? I know we were talking offline about it, but Middlesbrough win or draw, get beat?
Yeah, I think in recent years, it's never really been that much of a... I was going to say it's not been a high-scoring game, but there was that 3-2 a couple of years ago as well, wasn't there? So, I don't know. It's not one where you think of goals when you think it. So I reckon it'll go 1-0 Boro on Saturday. I think the home advantage is just going to pay off.
1-0, and then Louis, just I felt like I missed your prediction. What would you go for?
Oh yeah, I went for 1-1 in my prediction, but yeah, it's going to be a difficult game either way. But I hope it's entertaining, and I hope we get a bit of a high scoring game because it was a proper ding dong affair when we played our first game of last season against Bournemouth. So I'm hoping it'll be something similar, at least entertaining, if not nail biting.
It's like a 1-0, 1-1. I'm going to go 5-5. You may as well. Entertaining game at the Riverside. Goals galore. But I think, seriously, I think I'm going to go probably a draw, and I'd hopefully we can try and sneak a win as well. I think 1-1 would be the ideal scoreline, given our current squad being relatively quite small and us not being anywhere near probably where we want to be. But Louis, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Louis does a fantastic podcast called the Baggies Podcast, and you should give that a follow on YouTube and all subscriptions. And Louis, do you want to give that a quick push before I go? I don't want to butcher it for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. But yeah, you can find us at the Baggies Podcast on your podcast platforms, and like yourselves, we do a similar thing on YouTube with the video podcasts as well, and sort of news videos as well surrounding that on YouTube. So yeah, if you want to go and check us out, we're on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all the usual stuff. If you want to go and check us out. But thanks for having me on, guys.
At any time. But this has been the Boro Breakdown Podcast, and that was all your Boro Match Day chatter in a pod.